here for another video. If you watched last week's one, you will know that we fitted some rear lip extensions to Annie's car, which is over there. And this week, we're going to be changing the oil in my BM because it's in dire need of it, getting through a fair bit, so I'm going to up the viscosity while I'm at it as well. Go from a 540 to a 1040, which before you haters get on, it's not the right oil for your car. It doesn't matter because it's a high mileage engine, it's nearly done 200,000 miles. So a little bit thicker oil won't hurt at all. That's what we're going to put in it, and I don't care what you lot on the internet think. So anyway, right, before we get started, and I'm going to basically show you everything you sort of need to check. We're not doing spark plugs. What we do need to do is take the cap off, because that'll help you drain your oil quicker. So that's got to come off. Like I said, it just lets the air out so the oil can go through it, otherwise you get it glugging down the bottom when you undo the sump plug, which is horrible because it splashes everything. Your oil filter goes here. Before we do that, I'm going to show you what you need. This is what you'll need to do your service. You need a filter, obviously the right one for your car, a spanner for your sump plug, a ratchet with the correct size socket on it, in this case it's 17mm, a socket to undo the filter housing, which in this case is a 36mm. You need your oil, and in this case this car takes 6.8 litres, so you need 2, and it means you've got plenty to top it up when it burns the oil. You also need something to drain the oil in, so one of those, just a barrel with the top cut open, which is ideal. You can have a proper drainage thing and whatnot, but I don't have one because I have loads of those, so I don't need it. That's all right, let's get and drain the oil. Right, on these, the sump, annoyingly, comes out sideways, not like that, which is up here. I don't have an under tray on, or this panel's never there, and I took the under tray off. But yeah, you would have to normally undo this panel, which has got little clips on it and bits and bobs, and take that off to get to the sump, so it's drain your oil. You can do it with a spanner to undo this. However, you don't have much movement, so it's better to use your socket, and then you can go on there and you can undo it and this, that, and not, and you don't have to worry about movement. So what I'm going to do is I have obviously this to drain it into. So what I'm going to do is just roll up my sleeves quick, which means taking the gloves off because I'll get dirty otherwise. Because I don't want oil going everywhere. And I've taken my coat off, so I'm a bit chilly, because I don't really want it going on me nice jacket that I shouldn't have worn to the yard, but hey, you live and learn, don't you? It was cold, so I didn't want to put my other one on. So let's see if we can undo this. Right, all you got to do is crack it off, and usually they are finger tight. You just got to make sure that, should we go that way, and I can hold the handle against it, like that. And then hope that it doesn't go everywhere. It is a good idea, as you get to the end of the threads, to keep a bit of pressure on it with one finger while you undo it, because that way the oil doesn't come out the threads so fast. Also, it means when you get to the end, you can just remove the sump plug, just pull it away, and it doesn't go in the end of the tub, which is a hateful thing, because then you've got to find it again. When it starts to click, you see it dripping? That means it's at the end. So, there we go. Oh, I'm dribbling it down the side. There's probably not a lot in here because it's... I've got to wait for that. This is where I walk through it now. I really don't want to do that because I've done that before and it's horrible. I want to put this on the floor. Like that. There we go. I'm going to put the sump plug on there. Now, before I do, on here, you'll notice it has a... Ooh, this is close. It's got a little copper washer. Now, usually when you buy an oil filter, it comes with one of them in it. It's a good idea to replace it because the copper acts as a like a compression ring, so it gives a seal. Right, while that's dripping everywhere, sorry, we'll get some brake cleaner on it and clean it up, and then that'll be fine. Either way, while you're under your car, it is a good idea to check your suspension. Just have a look. It looks like I've got loads of grease and stuff over there, but I don't. It's just been because it's wet, so it's still drying out. But at the moment, it's looking all good, so I'm not going to look too much into that. Right, that's basically going straight now. It's not going to do any more damage. So let's go up the top. Next thing you need to do is, while your oil is draining, do your oil filter. Now, this is plastic, so you've got to be somewhat careful with it. It's also got a big hex head on top. That's where your 36mm socket comes in. So use the ratchet used earlier on the sump plug, and then you just want to crack it off. Now, it will be quite stiff, and it will probably feel like you're stripping the threads, but it's literally just the seal inside just breaking free.
I want to break free.
So just want to undo that. When it gets to a certain point, you can just undo it by hand, like that. Ideal having a 6-cylinder because you've got all these little holders in there for your sockets. Right, now you want to take this out. So be very careful because you will drip oil literally everywhere. And you don't want that because you don't really want to mess in your engine bay. So grab it like that. There you go, and put it down here. Now, this is a cartridge filter, it's not a screw-on type. So, there's pros and cons to it. This is obviously very easy because it's right in front of your engine. Everything bar the oil, everything bar the sump is on top. So you can do everything up while your oil's draining. Now, is that in the middle still? Yes, it is. So, this is your cartridge filter. Now, all you do is literally, you just pull it off. And in there is a little gauze, which the other filter will slide over. Do not use brake cleaner or any other sort of like WD-40 or anything like that. It's better to leave the old oil in there because it'll all mix together anyway. You don't want to add any other contaminants in there, like with WD-40, because you don't know what else is in there. You don't want to harm your engine, so it's better to have a little bit of old oil in there. Your old filter is off. You need to put a new one on. Now, this is what your new one will look like when you get it. It almost looks like an air filter, which I suppose it kind of does the same thing. But yeah, that is a good idea to just check size, diameter. Now, I know these are the same part number as the old one I had, that one there, same part number, and I already checked it when I got it, because I've had a lot of problems with Bosch filters. So this is a man filter, which I'm pretty sure even made in the same place, but still. Anyway, that's going in there, like that. That slides over your little gauze filter, like that. And when you get to the bottom, it should click, like that. And then you have in here, right, now, I thought it was in a different packet, but if you look there is a copper washer. Now, that is what you need to put on your sump plug to replace the worn one that you have already, should have already taken off. So what we're going to do is I'll tell you what, actually we're not going to do that. We're going to just put that there. And what we're going to do on this seal, because this is the seal that replaces this one round here. Right, I've got a pick to get this seal off. And then it's fairly simple, you just pull it off. It's probably a good idea to do this before you do your filter. But I didn't, so it doesn't matter. So we'll get rid of that. What we're going to do is use a tiny bit of oil off the old filter, and then we're just going to run that round there. So when it goes back into the housing, filter housing, it's got something nice and slippery to guide it in so it doesn't catch, snag, and then you have a leak. So that's now going to go over there. You can use new oil, you can use old oil, it doesn't really matter. It's the same principle as if you've got a screw-on oil filter. You put a little bit of new or old engine oil onto the seal where it mounts before you screw it up, so it doesn't give you any leaks. A little bit of debris there, get it off, just check everything's okay. Everything looks fine on here. So now we've done that, I'm going to put it in the car. Same principle, obviously just the other way around. So make sure there's nothing in there. A little bit of oil in the bottom that hasn't drained out, but there's no drama at all. And then I'm just going to make sure it's not cross-threaded, because being that plastic, you do not want to cross-thread that. So you're just going to do it up. That gets to the point, use your socket, screw it up. There we go. Right, another piece of equipment that you will need is a torque wrench, because this has got to be done up to 25 Newton meters. So once that's done up, you can hear the seal. doing up, it's not snagging or anything. Right, so that's tight. Right, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna go grab a torque wrench, set it to 25 newton meters.
A few moments later.
Right, a little torque wrench. It's just a 3/8 torque wrench, but it's the only one we got that will go to 25 newton meters. So I've got a step up on it, 3/8 to 1/2 inch. I've set it to 25, and then you literally just go, done. That's it. I haven't done it up any tighter. What I will do is just crack this off, just as a demonstration. Like that. And then we can do it up. A little more won't hurt, but shh, don't tell anyone. Get a little bit of rag, just mop that up, just make it look all pretty. There we go, job done. Right, all we have to do now is fill up the engine with some oil. Now, should I do that fancy trick where you pour it down the dipstick? Because I can guarantee that'll go wrong.
No.
Because I feel like I should. It's now time to fit your copper washer to your sump plug. Now, you will notice it is still draining. However, I have run some nice clean oil through the engine just to flush that tiny bit out, and it's just stopped. So, take your old one off, put it there for someone to find next week, fit your new copper ring. Now, just make sure it's nice and clean. And then, same principle as taking it out, keep the pressure on, just so it stops the oil. There we go. And then screw that all the way in. Now, I have been a muppet because I have left my ratchet up on the engine bay, on the inlet, so I have to go get that in a sec. But if I just get my socket, do that up like that, nicely. There we go. Right, that's stopped. I'm gonna go get me ratchet, and it's gonna be in my hand. Right, got my ratchet, and now all we got to do is tighten this up. Mum being a flid, and I can't tighten it up because it's so loose. I'm going the wrong way. Right, you don't want to over tighten it, but you also don't want to do it too loose. So same principle as doing spark plugs. You want to do them up and then a little more. So do them to nip and then a little more. It's like that. It's perfectly acceptable because all you need to do is crush the washer to stop it leaking. Now, just to be on a safe side, it's always good to just double check. Yeah, now that needed a little bit more. So it's always good to have a second take on it. But right, we're gonna put some oil in the sump. Obviously, we need to go up the top to do that. So let's go up the top. Right, 5 litres of oil. Now, this engine takes 6.8. So this whole can has got to go in. So I'm not even gonna bother watching it. I'm just gonna turn it upside down when it's going in and leave it going. Like that. Right. 1 empty can. Right, you put 5 litres in. Now's a good chance to just give your dipstick a bit of a wipe. Because obviously you've got a little bit of old oil on there. Just get the worst of it off. Because it makes it easier to then see your nice golden brown oil. But that's what my dipstick looked like normally. Because it had nothing in it, because it burnt that much. I had 530 in there, and I kid you not, I put a litre in every like 2 weeks. I didn't even use the car that much. That's not on the dipstick. If you check. Oh yeah, it is. It is on the dipstick. Right then. So if I come back round the other side and pour the next lot in. So we're not going to need much in here now. There we go. That's got plenty of oil in for the moment. So now what you need to do is go down and check it's not coming out the bottom, just check everything's tight. I usually use a bit of brake clean, just clean it off just so you can see if anything is gone. And then we've got to start the engine up, let it circulate around the engine and make sure it is in your oil filter and everything's round. Let it settle for 5 minutes and then recheck dipstick and top up the oil. Right, just been down and wiped off the oil from the sump and nothing coming out. So we're just going to check the dipstick, there should be more than enough in there. Just wipe it and dip it again and get it back in there. Leave it for a couple of seconds, dip it. We've got about half in there at the moment. So now what we're going to do is just start it up. Quite loud with the door closed. Leave it running for a minute or two, just let the oil circulate around the engine. And yeah, should be fine then. We'll double check the oil once it's settled and then top it up. We're good to go.
2 very boring minutes later.
Right, been running for a minute or two now. Time to turn it off, check the oil. Does this weird sucky thing. God knows why it does that. If you know why it does that, can you please let me know in the comments, because I have no idea. I think it's kind of weird, so I'd like to know. But yeah, right. If I put my glove back on, that I've actually got oil inside it now. Better make sure I've just got it on my face. I've just got oil on my face. No, oh, we're all good. I'm sure I just touched it. Right, just gonna take that off. And let the oil settle. I'm going to put all bits and bobs away, chuck stuff in the bin, and then we can wrap today's video up and call it a success. And now you know how to change your oil, but I can guarantee a lot of you will just go, oh, I'll take it to the garage because it's easier, which it is, but you know, if I took my car to BMW now, they put 530 in, and then within a week it'll be out of oil because it burns that much. But yeah, we are all good. I'm going to go put stuff away, come back and check the oil. All settled back down now. In the meantime, we tidied it up. So now, check the oil. So what we're going to do is wipe it and dip it. So where it's been running, it's probably sprayed up the tube a little bit. So 1, 2, and out. Now, if you look on there, you can see it's on minimum. So it needs topping up. When I can get it back in the hole, I'll just put a little bit in. We'll probably do. Looking at the, yeah, I've used, I'm sure it said 6.8, but then of course this 6.8 litres like completely dry, because you can never get it all out. Right, I'm going to leave that now. 1040 is a bit thicker, obviously. Well, it's a fair bit thicker than 530 or 540, so it takes a lot longer to go down into the engine, down into the sump. So you've got to go through all the galleries and bits and bobs to get right down. So you're up around half, but obviously I put a lot in, so I'm going to leave that, come back tomorrow and check it, because I expect it's got more than enough in there to do a trip home. But yeah, that is today's video done, and now you know how to check your oil. If you have any questions about your car or anything like that, drop us a message, comment on the video, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We now have TikTok. Way, don't get any views, but way, we got TikTok. So yeah, go check us out on there. It's at Royale Collective, fairly easy. So yeah, give us a follow on there, give us a follow on Facebook, give us a follow on Instagram, and subscribe on here. And till then, see you in the next video.